Hi everyone, it's Anne here from Positively Papercraft. Now today I haven't got a crafty video. A lot of you know that I've just recently came back from Turkey to have dental implants. I've still got a bit of a lisp actually because I'm getting used to them. But I was quite surprised how many people reached out to me wanting to, know details and where did I get them, and they need their teeth done. So I was quite surprised by that. So I said, I'm just going to put it all in the video and hopefully I can help somebody out. I'm going to just quickly start from the beginning. I don't want it to be a really long video. I'll try and break it down as much as I can. But basically, I didn't have any top teeth at all. They were completely false, horrible NHS denture, and I've had that for 10 years and it was 10 years of hell. I absolutely despised the thing. It was awful. I did have seven teeth on the bottom, which were mine. However, recently I found out that they needed to come out, which would mean I would have no teeth at all. The NHS dentists were just offering more dentures, which I just I couldn't cope with it. I thought, I can't do this. Got prices in the UK, absolutely ridiculous. Couldn't afford it. So I thought I was left with nothing, no alternative. And then I started exploring Turkey and I joined a couple of good Facebook groups. I will link them below. They have definitely helped me do this. I wouldn't have been able to do it without them, one in particular. And I started messaging clinics via WhatsApp. That's kind of the norm. A lot of clinics in the beginning couldn't help us because I picked one clinic. They sent me to a place called DENT, which my local nearest one was Manchester. Went there for an x-ray, paid £50. If you got the treatment with that clinic, they would take the £50 off the final bill. However, I was devastated when I got home. They showed me the x-ray and they said they couldn't help us. And the issue I had was because I had dentures for 10 years in the top, the bone had basically withered away to nothing, so I had no bone in the top at all. And in the bottom, I only had bone where I had the 7 teeth, where the other teeth were missing. That was really starting to go. Now I'm going to show you the x-rays, the before and after x-rays. So I messaged a few more clinics. No, we can't help you. You don't have any bone. And then I found a couple of clinics who could help us by what they called, I would need Zigomatic implants, which is a lot more complex, riskier as well, a lot more expensive. And I started to realise that was my only option. And basically Zigomatic implants, they are basically go up into your cheekbone really quite high, so probably about here. I've got 2 here and I've got 2 here, and I have 4 implants on the bottom, which they just put them where they took the other teeth out. But yes, Zigomatic, it is a more extreme way, and in my opinion I think it's the only way if you don't have any bone in the top. It can't be done in the bottom, only in the top. So I started realising that was the only way to do it. Got some quotes, some were a lot more, and then I decided on the clinic which I use, which was Precious Dental in Antalya in Turkey. And no regrets up to now, everything seems to have gone well, and I will link that clinic below. You have a coordinator, mine was Oggy, and he did the whole journey with me. So basically the only thing you pay for extra are your flights. The price included the teeth, obviously the treatment, the hotel, which is all inclusive. They put you up in a hotel called the Falcon. It was absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to show you some pictures of what it looked like. Food was beautiful. I met some lovely people, amazing people. I did the journey alone. In hindsight, for the procedure I had, that was a bad decision. It was very, very scary, brutal actually. So I'll quickly tell you what it entailed. Because I needed the Zigomatic, it has to be done in a hospital. I had to stay overnight in the hospital. So basically I got to Turkey on the Monday night, went straight to the clinic to have the x-rays again to just be certain, and that's definitely what I had to have, 4 Zigomatic implants in the top. The following morning they took me to the hospital to do blood tests, x-ray, ECGs, that kind of thing, to make sure you're safe for surgery. There was also another lady who was having the same thing done. However, we had a language problem because I believe this lady was from the Czech Republic. So she did her journey with me, which was lovely because she stayed in the same ward. She was just a couple of rooms up from me because you have your own private room. I saw her at the end before she went home. She had her teeth, and it was lovely. Her husband spoke some English, but she didn't. So yeah, and then we left the hospital and they told me that they had a slot at 4 p.m. that day on the Tuesday for the surgery. So I said, yeah, let's just do it, let's get it over with. So they picked me up, took us to the hospital about 3, took us to my own room, you know, got your cannulas in and your gown and everything on. And at that point I have never been so scared in all my life. It was absolutely terrifying. Going down to theatre and just hearing the machines and that smell of the anaesthetic, realising I was alone, and there was a lot of doctors, and the surgeon who I'd already met who was doing the surgery, he was there waiting, and you know, obviously they speak little English, it is in England, and that was terrifying. I did nearly back out there and nearly said, you know, I don't want to do this, get me off the table. And then I just thought, and then what's the alternative? To go back home to this. So the next thing I remember, just waking up, trying to get us in my bed in the room. Woke up, felt okay. Probably actually felt like my head had been run over by a steamroller, if I'm brutally honest. Remember having a look in, using my phone to look and just seeing like all this metal, like these metal implants in my mouth. So spent the night there. The nurses were really nice. They came and checked on us every few hours, give us some painkillers through a drip, and took us for a little walk around the ward, you know, just to get my legs going, things like that. They give us soup and yogurt. Absolutely fine. I'll put some pictures in of that, the hospital's trip. So next day I got let out about 10 a.m. Again, Oggy come and picked us up, took us back to the hotel. Basically rested for a day or 2. They give me antibiotics, painkillers, and that's when it started to swell. My face started to really swell up. I'll show you what that was like. I can't say I was in pain, it was more like just a discomfort. But then the next day, which was the when I went down to the clinic again, it was the Thursday, and they were going to try and put some sort of mock-up temporary teeth in, like a test. That was excruciating, and I think that day hit us the worst because when they were screwing them in, I could like feel the screws in my head, like feel my head moving, and it was so painful. And I remember sitting in the chair and just ready to burst into tears, and actually said out loud, I can't do this, I can't do this anymore. And you know, Oggy just said, you know, we'll take you back to the hotel, rest, take your painkillers, we'll try again tomorrow. And I remember when I got out of the chair, I just burst into tears in the clinic, just cried and cried. And I think it actually hit us that day what I had done. But the next day was fine. You know, we got them in. This is them now. I absolutely love them. They are just temporary, purely for cosmetic reasons. You can't chew with them. So I have got to live on soft food kind of baby diet for the next 3 months. So the idea is I go back in July, have my permanent teeth. But I think I might actually leave it till maybe September, because July is going to be expensive for flights and it will be too hot for me. So I might leave it till September. I chose, you only have 3 options for your temporaries. I chose natural, shape and B1 in colour. When I get my permanents, I think I might just go 1 shade whiter, and I'm not sure of the shape. Now, obviously, because I was a more complex case and I had to have the Zigomatic implants, it costs probably treble of what it would cost for regular dental implants. But you do pay in 2 parts, so I paid the first when I went, and I will pay the second half when I go back again. Yeah, I can't say really anything bad. You know, it was a crazy experience I'll never forget. As I said, I met some lovely people. Hotel was amazing, food was amazing. It's all inclusive, so you can eat and drink as much as you like. And Precious Dent were, you know, no issues at all. I would highly recommend them. I'll put the link for them, as I said, below. So I'm actually quite looking forward to going back for my last trip, hopefully, and get the permanent teeth. But for temporary teeth, these are amazing. I think I've seen some temporary teeth, and let's just say, you know, I wouldn't be happy with them. But I told them I didn't want like bright white flashy things. That's not what I got this done for. I got this done because I just could not eat. I couldn't live like that any longer. I couldn't do it. So yeah, still sometimes I pinch myself. I can't believe I've done it, but you know, some days I don't feel them at all. Any discomfort's mainly been, funnily enough, in the bottom jaw, where it's just like a kind of tightening feeling. But yes, I'm going to show you the x-rays now from what was before and what was after. So as you can see, the after is pretty brutal. You know, they are some really big implants, but there is no other way. Some clinics will tell you they can do bone graft after bone graft, and it's not guaranteed to work. And funnily enough, the lady from the Czech Republic who I was with, they told me that last year she'd gone to a clinic, they'd done bone grafts, and basically they failed. So now she's had to spend more money, come back, and she got her Zigomatic implants. And she seemed really happy before we left both to go home. So yes, if there's any questions, you can leave them in the comments, message me on Facebook. I'll happily help anyone I can. I'm going to put the links for the clinic. And yeah, that's my experience. I'm thrilled. I'm so happy I've had it done. It was very scary, more so I think because of these ones. And you know, many times I just thought, I can't do this. I can't. What if something goes wrong? You know, you have to be put to sleep. It has to be done in a hospital, where, you know, it's kind of regular implants, they do them in the clinic. But it is what it is. I had no other, there was no other option, and I'm so glad I did it. So yes, I just wanted to share it with you, and hopefully I'll be back soon with some crafty videos. So yeah, thanks for watching, take care, and bye for now.